All right, welcome back to NFL Nexus, the place where we get into the real nuts and bolts of NFL strategy. Today we've got a fascinating one, folks. We're zoning in on the Indianapolis Colts because they are standing at a massive fork in the road. This offseason for them isn't just about picking up a free agent here or there. No, it's about choosing an entire philosophy, a core identity for how they're going to build a championship team. They are literally staring down two completely different blueprints to get to a Super Bowl. And the decision they make is going to echo for years. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we have to start with the big one, the elephant in the room, the quarterback conundrum that is really forcing their hand on everything else. Then, we're going to break down blueprint number 1, which is the safe play, all about securing the future. After that, we'll flip the script entirely and look at blueprint number 2, a high-stakes, all-in blockbuster move to win right now. And finally, we'll stack them up side by side to really understand the massive choice that the Colts front office is facing. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here. You know, it's almost become a running theme for the Colts over the last, half a decade. The quarterback position is, once again, a huge question mark. It is the most important position in all of sports, and for Indy, the fog of uncertainty around it is the single catalyst that's going to dictate every single other move they make this year. To really get what's happening now, you have to appreciate the roller coaster they've been on. I mean, think about it. It starts in 2023 with all the hope in the world, drafting Anthony Richardson with the number 4 overall pick. The franchise guy, right? Well, fast forward to 2025, and after a now-famous training camp showdown, the team hands the keys over to the veteran, Daniel Jones. And that decision, well, it led directly to where we are right now, the team and Richardson agreeing it's time to part ways, effectively slamming the book shut on what was supposed to be a new era. So, this is the landscape as it stands today. Daniel Jones is the guy, he's the starter, and he's locked in with a new contract for the next 2 seasons. And waiting in the wings, you've got Riley Leonard, a 6th-round pick from a year ago, who the team sees as their developmental backup of the future. But let's read between the lines here. A 2-year commitment to your starter and a late-round draft pick as your main insurance policy? That doesn't exactly scream long-term, rock-solid stability, does it?
And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, even if Richardson is technically on the roster for 1 more year, the writing's on the wall, and there's absolutely no guarantee that Daniel Jones recaptures his best form. So this deep, profound uncertainty, that's the trigger. That's what forces a general manager like Chris Ballard to have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. And that brings us directly to the first of these 2 major blueprints.
This brings us to their first potential strategy, the path of caution, the path of prudence. This approach is all about building a solid foundation, brick by brick. The Colts are hitting the road, scouting the next crop of college quarterbacks, not necessarily to find their next starter tomorrow, but to make sure they have depth, they have potential, and they have stability for the long haul. This is all about preventing a future crisis before it even begins. So they're doing their homework, and when you look at who they're talking to, a very clear pattern starts to emerge. Their scouts aren't focused on the big names at the top of the draft. Nope. They're digging into the guys projected to go in the middle and late rounds. They're on a treasure hunt for hidden gems, dependable backups, guys that can get without spending a premium 1st or 2nd round pick. It's a classic low-risk, potentially high-reward strategy. And this is what's so telling. Look at the breadth of the search. It's not just a casual look at 1 or 2 guys. They've had formal meetings with Joe Fagnano from UConn, Cole Payton from North Dakota State, Luke Altmaier out of Illinois, and Baron Morton from Texas Tech. Now, they've also met with Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, who's a little different. He's seen more as a middle-round guy. But the overall pattern is crystal clear. They are laser-focused on finding a developmental quarterback they can mold. Okay, let's zoom in on one of these guys because he's the perfect poster child for this entire philosophy, Joe Fagnano from UConn. He's not going to be on the big board on day 1 or day 2. He's projected as a late day 3 guy, maybe rounds 4 through 7, or even a guy that teams will scramble to sign as an undrafted free agent. He is the exact archetype of player this securing the future blueprint is all about. And this right here, this is why a team like the Colts is kicking the tires. Just look at that TD to interception ratio. In his final season, Fagnano threw for almost 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns against 1. I'm going to say it again, 1 interception. For a front office looking to add a stable backup, a QB3 who can run the scout team and won't make practice a turnover fest, that is maybe the most valuable trait you can find. It screams dependability. He protects the football. That's a huge checkmark. And then you hear what he says about that incredible stat. When a reporter asked him about it, he didn't puff out his chest. He immediately gave all the credit to his teammates, shouting out his offensive line. He calls it an overall offensive stat. That right there, that's music to a GM's ears. It shows a team-first guy, a player with humility who understands he's just one piece to the puzzle. That's exactly the kind of character you want in your building.
So let's put a bow on this first blueprint. This is the safe play. It's the sensible route. It's using late-round picks or maybe an undrafted free agent to build up your quarterback room from the bottom. The goal is simple. Find a reliable number 2, maybe develop a number 3, and make sure you are never, ever again held hostage by an injury or a bad situation at the most important position in the game. It is prioritizing long-term stability over a short-term splash.
Okay, now, I want you to take everything we just talked about, the safety, the long-term planning, the prudence, and just for a minute, toss it right out the window. Because now we're going to talk about a completely different philosophy, a blueprint that has nothing to do with 5 years from now. It's about seizing a golden, unforeseen opportunity to become a truly dominant team, right here, right now. This is the Blockbuster plan.
And that golden opportunity has just slammed onto the table. Because of a contract dispute with the New York Giants, all-pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence has officially requested a trade. Let's be clear, this is not normal. This is a blue moon event. A player of this caliber, a true difference maker in the absolute prime of his career, does not become available on the trade market very often. One of the truly elite defensive players in the entire league is suddenly gettable.
So let's make sure we're all on the same page about who Dexter Lawrence is. He's not just a good defensive tackle. He is a certified card-carrying game wrecker. We're talking about a 2-time second-team All-Pro, a 3-time Pro Bowler. Analysts call him a world eater, a guy who creates complete chaos. This is the kind of player that offensive coordinators have nightmares about. He demands a double team on almost every single snap, and he still wins. He is a one-man wrecking crew.
His production from the interior is just off the charts. I mean, over the last 4 seasons alone, 21.5 sacks, 73 QB hits, but the number that jumps off the page to me is 198 quarterback pressures. Just stop and think about what that really means. On nearly 200 plays, he was living in the opposing backfield. Even if he didn't get the sack, he was forcing the quarterback off his spot, rushing a throw, making him abandon the play. That is how you systematically destroy an offense from the inside out. He is a relentless, consistent force of nature.
Now, this slide right here is what makes this so insane. Just look at his 2024 season. He had 9 sacks and 16 quarterback hits. Pro Football Focus graded him as the second-best defensive tackle in the entire league, both overall and against the run. He was the 8th best pass rusher at his position. But here's the kicker, the part that's truly mind-boggling. He did all of that while missing 5 games with an elbow injury. He was on an absolutely legendary pace. If you extrapolate those numbers over a full 17-game season, you're talking about one of the most dominant single seasons by a defensive tackle we have seen in years.
And this is the detail that takes this whole idea from interesting to absolutely terrifying for the rest of the league. The Colts are not trying to fix a weakness here. Defensive tackle is already a massive strength for them. They already have one of the premier duos in the entire NFL with the incredible DeForest Buckner and the immovable Grover Stewart. So this isn't about plugging a hole. This is about adding a superstar to a unit that is already elite.
So that begs the obvious question, right? What happens? What is the actual on-field impact when you do that? It's not just adding one good player. It's a force multiplier. It's a move that could fundamentally change not just the Colts defense, but the entire strategic calculus for every single team that has to play them. And this quote just nails it, a deadly trifecta. Just try to put yourself in the shoes of an opposing offensive coordinator for a second. It's Wednesday morning, you're game planning, and you have to figure out how to block a defensive front that has DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Dexter Lawrence. How do you do it? I mean, seriously, how? You don't have enough bodies. It would be an absolute nightmare. It would guarantee one-on-one matchups for your best pass rushers on the outside. It would be utterly terrifying. Okay, so now that we've walked down both roads, let's bring it all back together and put them head to head. Because what we have here are 2 completely, radically different strategies for the Colts. 2 totally different team-building philosophies. But it's so important to remember, they're both designed to get to the exact same place, holding that Lombardi trophy at the end of the season.
And this table just lays the choice out in black and white. You've got Blueprint 1 on the left, target a late-round quarterback. The cost is low, just a day 3 pick. The risk is minimal, and the impact is all about the future, about long-term depth. Then you've got Blueprint 2, target an all-pro. The cost is sky high. We're talking multiple premium draft picks, plus a record-breaking contract. The risk is massive, but the impact,
The impact is immediate, game-changing dominance. It's the classic dilemma, safety versus supremacy.
And this, right here, this might be the single most important factor in the entire equation. It's the outside pressure. Because the reporting is clear. The mandate for GM Chris Ballard and for coach Shane Steichen is that Indianapolis has to win this year, that's without question. And when that's the message coming down from the owner's box, it changes everything. That patient, long-term approach, suddenly it doesn't look quite as appealing when your job security might depend on what happens in the next 6 months. That's the cold, hard reality of the National Football League.
This quote really drives that last point home. The immense pressure to win now puts the Colts squarely in the conversation for a move that some might call bold and others might call desperate. It suggests that a blockbuster trade for a player like Dexter Lawrence, something that might seem like a fantasy football move on the surface, could actually be way more realistic than any of us think. Pressure makes teams do extraordinary things.
So at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. It's a fundamental question of team-building philosophy. If you're Chris Ballard, do you invest in the safe blueprint for long-term health and stability? Or do you go all in, push all your chips to the center of the table for a blockbuster that could put you over the top today? There's no easy answer, but I really want to know what you all think. Drop a comment below and let me know which path you think the Colts should take. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to NFL Nexus for more deep dives just like this one. And hey, one last thing. If you're looking for another way to help support the channel, we've actually launched a series of coloring books. They're great for kids, grandkids, even for adults looking to unwind. You can find them using the link down in the description or by scanning the QR code that's on your screen right now. Every little bit of support helps us keep making this content for you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.